Hey folks, how's it going? Today we're going to jump into the world of motion graphics in PowerPoint. In this tutorial, let's learn the basics of creating these animated circle elements. We'll begin by learning how to create a simple wipe circle. We'll then move on to a double simple wipe. Then, we'll learn how to create a radar sweep animation. Next, we'll combine the double wipe and radar animations. We'll learn how to make a starburst. And finally, we'll learn how to make expanding circle animations and how to make them overlap. And once you know how to create these basic animations, you can combine them to create all types of exciting animated elements. So, let's jump right into it. Our first animation is the simple wipe, which is a basic animation we'll be using a lot while creating all the animated circle elements. So let's get started by opening a new slide. Let's go over to our shapes and select the hollow circle. Let's draw the circle out and let's reduce its width. We'll bring over the colors for this. We'll fill the shape with the gray color, and for outline, we'll give it the red color. We'll also use the red color for our background. So let's draw a rectangle, fill the slide with it, and give it the same red color and the same red outline as well, and send it to back. So now we have our base shape ready. I would recommend that we go to our selection pane and rename everything so there is no confusion. So I'll mark the background as BG, and instead of circle hollow, I'll call it the base. Having named our elements, let's copy the base circle onto a new slide. And also, let's activate the guides so we know the exact positioning of the circle. And then let's draw a rectangle over the top half of our circle. We'll use the guides to ensure we get exactly half of it. Then let's select the base circle, press Ctrl, select the rectangle, and click on Subtract. Having done that and creating this arc, let's copy the shape, rotate it, and match it to the top half of the circle. Now, it's very important that this new shape matches the previous shape perfectly. So let's select both these objects, group them, and check their size. So the height is 22 centimeters and the width is also 22 centimeters. And that's exactly the same as our base circle. So let's select the circle we've made over here, slide it over to the left. I'll rename this as Mask 1. Now, in the top half of the circle, let's fill it with the same red that we've been using. And for the bottom half, let's go to Format Shape. Under Fill, let's increase the transparency to 100%. Then, let's reselect this, make a copy of it, drag it over to the right, and rotate it so the red is on the bottom half. And I'll rename this second one to Mask 2. So now we have our two masks ready. Next up, we'll select both these guys and copy them over to our primary slide. Keeping them selected, I'll also select the base color and I'll align them to overlap. So hopefully they should completely camouflage the base color. Now, having done that, let's add some animations to this. We'll go over and activate the animation pane. We'll select mask 1 and we'll add a spin animation to it. We'll go to Effect Options in the animation pane and we'll add 2 spins so it says 720 degrees clockwise, and we'll give it a smooth start and a smooth end of about 1 second each. Let's play it. So it should be something like that. Now let's select mask 2 and again give it the spin animation. Let's go to Effect Options. This time we'll leave it at 360 clockwise and we'll give it again a 1 second smooth start and smooth end. Then we'll set both the animations to start with previous and let's increase the duration to roughly 3 seconds. Now let's click on play and there we go. So let me play it in full screen once. And that's how we create this simple wipe animation. It does take a little time, but it's fairly easy to do. Next up, let's create the double simple wipe. Now this is quite easy to do as it's just a variation on what we've already created. So let's simply go up to the slide that we've already created the simple wipe animation in. Let's copy this slide and bring it down. Now let's go to our selection pane and I'll hide the background color for now. Let's select everything we've already made. So the 2 masks and the base color. Let's copy it and paste it. I'll just drag it over to the right for now. I'll rename it as base 2, mask 3 and mask 4. Then pressing Ctrl and Shift, I'll decrease the size of all the 3 shapes by just a little bit, maybe a little bit more. And then select everything, all the masks and shapes, and align them to the center and the middle. Having aligned them all, I'll select mask 3, make it invisible, select mask 4 and make it invisible, so only the new base shape is there, and I'll quickly change the color from gray to yellow. Then we can bring back the masks and we can bring back the background as well. Then let's go to our animation pane. For mask 3 this time, in Effect Options, instead of 720 clockwise, all we need to do is change it to counterclockwise. We'll leave all the other settings as is. And similarly in mask 4, from 360 clockwise, all we need to do is change it to counterclockwise. And that's it. So let's click on play and there we go. And if we want it to run continuously, let's select all 4 masks, go to Effect Options, under Timing, let's set it to repeat until end of slide, so that when we play it in full screen, it continuously plays. And that's a fairly quick and easy way to make this really dynamic circular animation. And next up, let's create the radar sweep animation. This is pretty easy as it takes the exact same steps and concepts that we've used to create the simple wipe animation. So let's open a new slide. Let's bring in the colors we'll be using for this. Let's go to our shapes, and first of all, let's draw a circle. Let's make sure our circle is aligned properly. And let's add a background as well. Now this time our background, we'll use a dark blue color. And for the base color, let's use red. It's always good if you use contrasting colors. And for the outline, let's make it blue again so it matches the background. Then let's create a new slide again. Let's bring this circle down. We'll call this circle Mask 1. Let's create a rectangle and divide this circle in half. Let's subtract it. Let's copy this over and rotate it. There we go. Let's group the two. So this shows 13.65 and 13.65. So we've matched it exactly. Now one half, let's change to dark blue. And the other half, let's go to Format Shape and make it fully transparent. So now let's move this over to the left. Let's make a copy on the right. And let's rotate it so the dark half is on the right this time. And continue renaming. So this is Mask 2. Oh, my rename changed over here, so I'll do that again. Mask 1. There we go. Let's bring our two masks over. Let's overlap them. And there we go. Change this to base. And this to BG. Then let's jump over to animations. Let's select Mask 1 and give it the spin animation. Let's change it to a 720-degree spin and give it a smooth start and smooth end. And then let's select Mask 2. Give that a spin animation. Let's change that to, we'll leave that at 360 and give it a smooth start and smooth end. We'll set both to run with previous and we'll increase the animation duration. So all the same steps that we did for the previous animations. And there we go. In a fairly quick and easy way, we've created the radar sweep. Having created the radar sweep, let's try and combine that animation with the animations we've done previously. So let's go to a new slide. First of all, let's copy over what we created for the double wipe. Let's copy that and paste it over here. Now, since we're going to be using a dark blue background, our mask colors need to change. So let's go over to our selection pane. Let's make the base invisible, base 1 and base 2 both invisible. And we'll make all the masks invisible. We'll start with mask 1. The red will change to blue. And the outlines as well. Instead of the red outlines, we'll use blue outlines. So let's make sure to do that to all our masks. So then mask 2. Again, let's select it, the red part. There we go. Select all of it and make it blue. Then for mask 3, now we can bring back all the masks that we've hidden, and they should all be blue. Then let's copy over the radar animation that we created. Bring it in over here. Select everything. Make sure it's aligned properly. And finally, we can bring in our background. Send to back. Let's remember to unhide our base elements. And then let's check the animation. That looks pretty cool. Next, I'll select all my animations, go to Effect Options, and get them to repeat until the end of slide. I'll also select all the shapes and make sure they have a dark blue outline so they're invisible to the normal slide. Let's have a look. And in a fairly short amount of time, we've created this really cool circular animation. Next up, let's try a different style of animation, which is the starburst. Let's go over to a new slide. Now for the starburst, I'd recommend we use colors which contrast as much as possible. So for the background, I'll use a blue. And let's go over to our shapes. And down in stars and banners, we can choose either a 16-point star or a 24-point star depending on the number of bursts that we want. So I'll go with a 16-point star. Draw it out. I'll use the yellow node to make it completely thin. And I'll change the shape outline to yellow, so it contrasts well with our background. Next up, I'll draw a circle. It should cover the star completely. Then I'll give it the dark blue outline and I'll give it a fill of the dark blue as well. So this will be our mask. Let's go to the selection pane and call it the mask. Now, on our star, let's go over to animations. Let's find more entrance effects and give it a basic zoom. Then, let's go to add animation and give it a grow and shrink as well. In the grow and shrink, let's go into effect options and give it a full smooth end. Now let's give both the animations the same duration of about 0.25, and of course start with previous. So it looks something like this. Now select your star, go to Animation Painter and give the mask the same animation. Select both your objects and align them to center. In the grow and shrink animation of the mask, let's change the duration to about 75% and let's play it. So there we go. I'll play it once again. And that looks pretty neat. And that is a fairly easy and quick way to make a starburst animation. And on to our final animation, expanding circles. Once again, let's open a new slide. Let's go to our shapes and draw a circle. place it in the center. Let's bring over the colors we'll be using. For the first circle, let's fill it with the yellow and give it an outline of the dark blue. Also, let's create a background. Let's give it the dark blue color and send it to back. Let's go to our selection pane and rename this as base. We can rename the background as well. Next, let's make a copy of this. Let's rename this to mask 1. And let's fill this with the same blue that we're using in the background. So ideally it should completely cover the base color. Okay, we'll move it to one side for now. Now let's go to our animations. Let's give the base color a grow and shrink animation. In the animation pane, let's go to effect options and give it a full smooth end. Then let's go over to animation painter and give our mask the same animation. In the base animation, let's decrease the duration to say 1 second, and for the mask, let's decrease it to about 125. And of course, let's set them both to play with previous and then cover the base with the mask. Let's ensure they're properly aligned and let's play it. So it's almost like a rippling effect where the yellow line appears and disappears. Now all we need to do is select both these objects. I'll go to our selection pane, remove the background for now. Let's select both the initial objects, make a copy of them, and decrease the copy size by just a bit. Let's rename the copy to base 2 and mask 2. Let's bring the background back. Once again, let's ensure everything is aligned and let's play it. Now both the ripples are appearing simultaneously. So for the base 2 and the mask 2, let's add a slight delay so they appear after the first animation is done. So it looks like a more natural ripple effect. And that's a quick and easy way of making expanding circles or rippling circles. But what if you want to create these circles overlapping instead of being centrally aligned? So let me duplicate this slide that we've just created. Let me select base 2 and mask 2 and move them over to the corner. So they overlap the previous one. Let's bring the background back and let's play it. Now, immediately we see that there's a problem that when the first circle appears, it's already overshadowed by the existing ones. So to solve that little problem, what we need to do is add an animation to fade in. Let's make this a really short duration, say 0.15. Let's set all of these to play with previous and let's increase their duration. Let's increase the delay. Now let's have a look. So the first circle appears and then the second circle appears without overshadowing the previous one. And depending on the speed, you can increase or decrease the delay like this. So that's a little trick you can use to create overlapping expanding circles. So those were the basics of creating animated circle elements. Let's take a quick recap on everything that we've created. We'll start with the simple wipe. And before I forget, you can download the practice file and work on creating these animated circles yourself. The link for the download is in the description. So, the simple wipe, the double wipe, the radar sweep, the radar sweep combined with a wipe, a starburst animation, and finally the expanding circles. I hope you find this content helpful. Hit the like and subscribe buttons to show your love. Once again, thank you for watching, and remember to keep on creating.